I have a theory. You ready?
Always.
Okay. I have a theory. Um, we started Future Commerce with a thesis because when I entered web development and e-commerce in 1999, the web was the future and there were no rules. Okay. And when Future Commerce started doing research a few years ago, we realized the e-commerce ecosystem is nothing but rules now. It's nothing but rules. In fact, in 2016, the e-commerce agency that I was working for, our whole business growth area at the time was ADA compliance. We were making buku bucks on rules, just rules. You could advance the slide here. Uh, the web has become homogenous is one of our theses, and it's not just the web, it's kind of everything in the world. There's this thing that's going around on the internet, this is a meme right now, is that there's one car left in the world. There's only one car design. It's this blob that just drives around, and in fact there's not just one car, there's one color of a car. It's that color. They call it wet putty. um, and every car maker just makes this one car. Click the next slide. There's only one cell phone left anymore. Click the next slide. There's one toothbrush. Click the next slide. And okay, so there's one website. All right, and we did research at Future Commerce to figure this out. When you take the header and the logo away from a website, consumers also realize that they can't tell distinctiveness from one brand to the next. It doesn't matter if it's Net-a-Porter. It doesn't matter if it's Target.com. It doesn't matter if it's any mom, pop, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Shopify.com. It doesn't matter what it is. The Shopify effect of 4 million websites on the internet that can start up for $3 a month. It doesn't matter what it is. There is a way to build a website and we don't change it. That's it. And we wonder why we can't break through the 3% conversion rate barrier. And we don't play with it and we don't touch it. We don't change it. So the thing I want to get through today, I want to ask our panel how to do it, is A, why are we not trying? Well, B, but also like we have so many tools. Why aren't we employing them to try to break through? And then also, like, where's the innovation, right? And how do we use these tools to get some, like, can we bring some innovation back to the web, and can we grow a pair and like start to try to like break out of this mold, right? So that's what I want to bring back to this this panel, and bring some customer, to put some experience back into customer experience. All right, can we get that? Yeah, say hell yeah and clap a little bit. Yeah. All right. So you can advance the slide one more time. Oh shoot, I forgot about these. You can just go 3 or 4 more times. There you go. There's a bunch. Oh crap, I forgot about that one. And websites. There you go. Okay. So this is the panel. So Lindsay, would you introduce yourself real quick, and then also tell us a little bit about the kinds of tools that you guys are building over at MakeSwift that help make this a little bit easier so we don't get stuck in this box?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I'm Lindsay. I'm the co-founder and COO of MakeSwift. We are part of BigCommerce. And if you are familiar with Catalyst, or you just heard the panel that the lovely folks went on, we are the visual editor for Catalyst. We're a visual editor for composable sites. So in our world, we really see the ability to unlock human creative potential in the tooling that you have. In my opinion, good ideas go to die in complex systems. So a big part of what we're about with this new no-code, low-code convergence within the composable ecosystem is giving marketers and business users and creative teams the ability to be in the driver's seat and to come up with ideas that take us out of this box that we're talking about, this mold that we're talking about. So that's really my big thing, is making sure that we are tapping into tools that unleash that creativity.
And God forbid we only talk about e-commerce websites. The web is so much more than that. Sharon, tell us a little bit about how like data enrichment and other tools sort of bring this distinctiveness factor into other data points that make the same experience not homogenous in other channels.
Sure. I'm Sharon Guillaume, the Senior Vice President and the GM of the Feedonomics business, which is a company that BigCommerce acquired a while ago, because when we were realizing that commerce happens anywhere shopper and eyeballs are, and it requires a couple of things. One of them is product details, so catalog data, title, description, images, and then a checkout, right? Turns out we were correct in assuming that that was going to be that the channels were going to proliferate significantly over the number of years. And so whether you want to be where your shoppers are, but now your shoppers are in lots of places. They're on Google, Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Pinterest, TikTok, Snapchat, Mercado Libre, Perplexity. They're on all of these places. And the control that you have on your owned experiences, like your .com, or in the campaigns that you send on email or SMS, these are owned channels. You don't have the same kind of control on third-party channels, but that's where a lot of the eyeballs are. And so what do you have control over? If you are either a manufacturer or a retailer, you have control over your data. And the data is what feeds the AIs these days that deliver you the conversion you want, either in sales or clicks or traffic or orders or whatever. So at Feedonomics, we work to make sure that you can marry all of the right data together to take raw catalog data, enrich it with all of the things that make a campaign effective. Location-specific inventory, margin data, high return rate data, click data on certain channels. Bring that all together so that you can know, this is the campaign that my marketer should run in order to increase sell-through of those products that are sitting in that pesky Amazon MCF warehouse that I'm going to get charged long-term storage fees here in a minute. Those are the kinds of use cases that we can address with Feedonomics, whether that's, on owned channels to improve on-site search, or whether it's, listing on your favorite search, social, or marketplace.
Okay. I was like, I want to make sure I introduce Wayne. I definitely want to go back down that rabbit hole real quick. Wayne, when we're talking about like integrating all of these and how they all come together real quick, there's also like a cost to managing all of this change and sort of integrating all of these tools together. Tell us a little bit about what you do over at Codal and how you integrate and bring it all together and bring it home for the customer.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wayne Strapwick, our senior e-commerce product strategist at Codal. So I think the big thing is when you start getting into composable, you start pulling in these new technologies. Now it's like, now I have to build an integration into everything. Conveniently, that's not the case. About 5 years ago, that was the case. You had to, but there's a lot of really great technologies, a lot of really great technology stacks that are pre-integrated, and pulling in an agency like Codal, like we do the legwork for you. We know what integrations work, what integrations don't work, what you're going to have to build custom, what you don't have to build custom. And so it's really, how do we take both these platforms? So MakeSwift, a fantastic page editor, and Feedonomics, a superior feed optimization tool. And how do we make this all work? And that's where you bring in an agency like Codal. And so that's where we try to kind of distill down your problems and create solutions for those problems, and do it in a cost-effective way. Because we know that it's expensive. We know it's expensive to change your tech stack. We know it's expensive to do that. But if you do it right, it is something that will forever change your business in a positive direction.
Okay, you said tech stack. Okay, back in my day, a tech stack was like 4 pieces of software. And then you sent over a slide that showed a tech stack, and it is not that anymore.
Absolutely.
Could you click the thing? This is very much not the thing I used to think about as a tech stack in omnichannel.
Yeah. And I think obviously looking at it, like obviously visually, it's there's a lot. But the important part is that every single one of these pieces is a critical part of your business. Your business is not just, I sell this, I have a storefront and we have only 3 manufacturers. I think I've had conversations with merchants that they have 40 manufacturers. As things get increasingly more complex, you have to have a partner that understands the complexity of commerce. And you have to have a partner that's going to be able to help pick the solutions that are going to make that complexity easier. when you said composable 5 years ago, people were like, absolutely not. I'm not going to touch it. Like, because it was, you had to build an integration to every single thing. But with the way that things have optimized and the way that we've kind of normalized, to a fault, sometimes with front end development, but the way things have started to normalize, now you can pull in technologies that do these things easier than they used to be. And this is just data coming from your backend system and going up. That's not the other parts of your business that are extremely complex. And so solving for this and having a partner in this journey with you is a critical aspect of your business.
Okay, this like the podcaster in me really wants to like make a nice segue to the next section, but I'm going to stop real quick because that's not what we started with. I'm going to come back to what we started with was how do we put experience back in customer experience? Because the customer is supposed to be having an experience, right? And if we have a homogeneous user experience now, like I am all about good friction. Good friction should make me stop and think and be like, I remember that brand. And if there's no friction, I don't remember the brand. I don't care what the brand is. I just have a thing. So how do I remember the brand now? And I'd love for you all to answer that in some shape. Lindsay, you haven't said a whole lot. So tell me a little bit how you iterate to find where that good friction is and how you do that with MakeSwift.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that the challenge in a lot of the systems, how many of you in the room are marketers or have been in a marketing adjacent role before? And you went, okay, a couple hands. So was something, my background is in marketing. Before I co-founded MakeSwift, I was a marketer. And there were so many times where there was, some idea that I wanted to bring to life that might be creating some sort of positive conversation in the market or creating something that was new or idea that we could test and iterate on. And the challenge is when you have the tooling is too complex and you don't have the ability to bring the marketer in from the beginning, you get to the point to where the creativity dies, the ideas can't flow, and you end up in that moment. So the friction, I really think, happens when you land in the place where you have the marketer, the developers, and the designers working together from the outset to create the kind of experience that needs to happen for growth and for creativity to thrive.
Can I ask a follow-up on that?
Absolutely.
So, but it used to be more like a funnel where you have a designer that makes a design and you hand it off to a developer that makes development, and then they push it to the thing, and then the coder puts the code, and then they put it into the thing, and it goes to the GitHub, and the GitHub and the DevOps does the DevOps, and that doesn't seem like that's the situation anymore.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. So we're in a stage where that kind of workflow can flip on its head. I can't tell you how many times I have had an idea, or I knew that we could increase conversions in this direction if we could make this one change, and it got lost in some queue somewhere because there was so much other important work to do, and we required too many pieces, too many players, too many technical complexities to be in the mix. And so what we do with MakeSwift, we talk a lot about being visual first. So that allows for, at the very outset, you don't have to wait for a developer to set up the system and then tell the marketer or the business user how to drive it. You can bring in the marketer and the people that are closest to the customer and closest to the business from the beginning to come up with the ideas that are going to actually drive the business forward and are not going to be stuck in the homogenous cycle that we're.
I got it. I'm the old man in the room. You don't have to explain it any further than that. I got it. Because getting people like we got to shortcut the process because got to get the right people in the tool now. Because that makes total sense. I told you earlier, I'm the old guy. I've been doing this since '99. Who needs to hear from me? Let's come back to the thing you were talking about. How do we get the good friction in outside of the owned web experience? How do you put that into all the other channels?
I think consumers or shoppers are fairly simple. We want what we want when we want it, and we want it now. It's like super simple.
Isn't that just cheap, fast, free shipping and like all the rest? Isn't that what I've been told?
Unless it's an experience that actually No, it's these products like you said it from the beginning, right? Like what you buy, you're becoming this. We care about sustainability. We care about the life cycle of the product. We want storytelling. I want to know that you sourced that coffee from that place, and I want to know that you have a relationship with the farmer, and I want to know how it got to me. And these kinds of content demands are not what homogeneous experiences deliver. And so we need to be able to make sure that we can challenge, like, homogeny and homogenous experiences is where disruption thrives,
Yeah.
right? Like you can go in and super disrupt somebody who's doing something exactly the same way, where your differentiation comes in and is the place where you can crack through that 3% conversion rate that is like the god awful arbiter of like .com experiences right now. The way to improve conversion rates is to know your customer better than somebody else does, and then deliver them an experience faster that meets their expectations. And that you can meet those expectations in lots of different ways. One of the ways on the third-party channels is by providing the data in real time that says this product that you want, that you need right now, it's available for you. Your kid is has changed their mind around what they want to be for Halloween. That new costume that they want is available to you within half a mile. Go get it. That's a totally different like experience that you can unlock on a third-party channel just by surfacing local inventory to Google. Super straightforward, right? No, not really, because you have to know what that local inventory is. You have to marry it into a feed. You have to make sure that you can send it to Google with all of the changing Google APIs. So you just work with a partner like us to do it. So like these experiences are important and you have control because it's your data. What products do you have? How were they made? Or how did you source them? What was the magic that you, as your differentiation versus every other retailer or merchandiser of a product or manufacturer of a product in the world, like what's your special sauce? Digital is just a way to explain that. And these third-party companies do such an amazing, beautiful job of creating new expectations that we all have, that I want that product delivered to me. I was pissed when I didn't think that I could get like something that I wanted on Amazon by the end of the day. And I was like, I paused for a minute and I was like, I live in a magical universe where I can just like say I want this thing and I want it delivered to me today and I don't have to get it. But no, that's true. Like our customer expectations are much higher now. So we need to deliver that. Like, it's amazing. We live in this magical world, but the magic comes from the merchants who understand that if they marry all the data together, they can deliver on these expectations, and hopefully they're doing so with good margin and a good understanding of their customers, so they're actually making money.
That's good. That's real good. You should come on a podcast sometime. Wayne, she set the bar real high, dude. I don't know.
Thanks for that.
No. How do you deliver on all that? Well, actually, can I set you up? Actually, no. If you want to dovetail off that,
I kind of want to dovetail off this.
Okay,
this is like my little pet project for 2025. So to Sharon's point, I think 2025 is the year that businesses start to diversify between owned channels and non-owned channels. If you want something quick, you're going to go to Amazon. That's most consumers are going to do that today. If you want a great experience, you're going to go to a website. And so understanding how, yes, like you're a business, you got to sell on both. You got to figure out how you're going to sell on both. So I think where I think commerce is going in 2025 and beyond is with tools like BigCommerce and MakeSwift, you're able to innovate extremely quickly on your own channel. You can't do that on Amazon. You're not going to call up Amazon one day. If you can, please let me know, and I'd love to know your contact. But you're not going to call up Amazon one day and you're going to say, hey, I want you to change your UI because I think it's going to better my customers. They're not going to do that. So where that innovation happens, where you grow and innovate your product, your services, your offerings, is going to happen on your own channels. That being said, that's a critical piece. But for non-owned channels, your TikToks, your Targets, your Amazons, etc., you need to optimize the hell out of your data because you're competing against everybody else. And they basically think of it, the way I'm kind of thinking of it is that tools like Feedonomics are going to be as critical as SEO is to a website, because your data needs to be optimized to that search engine, aka that marketplace, aka that third-party solution channel. You have to optimize that. So it's not a like, for me, this is where the fork is going to happen. People are going to, if you have tools like MakeSwift and BigCommerce, composable tools that simplify this significantly.
Sure.
You've now saved time on your devs and your marketing team on being able to innovate, being able to A/B test, being able to do that with your actual customers. It's great to read all these articles and do all this other stuff, but does that actually impact your customer? You don't know until you do it. And so if you're able to free up your devs time to innovate, and you're able to free up your marketers time, because it always falls on marketers to optimize feeds, if you're able to do both of those things, you now get to spend time on the things that are actually valuable to your company, actually valuable to your customers. Because you might not be pushing the latest and greatest products onto Amazon because it's extremely expensive if you're not moving the product quick enough. And there's all these other implications. Your margins are lower, all this kind of stuff. So that's where, in my belief, is your innovation hub is going to be your website, and tools like BigCommerce and MakeSwift allow you to do that. Your potential mover is going to be third-party solutions, third-party marketplaces, and Feedonomics is going to position you the highest you possibly can on those platforms.
Google agrees with you, by the way. So I was talking with them today about, kind of their customer lifecycle goals program. So like very soon, if you aren't marrying data around loyalty programs, so very soon you'll be able to load loyalty program information into Google Merchant Center and be able to offer member-specific pricing that Google will surface based on like who's using this now. I would be shocked if anybody is. It's fairly new. But it's super exciting because the direct-to-consumer marketers of us who have like loved the lifetime value of loyalty programs have said, so the third-party channels, that's like your Amazon changing their UI experience, they actually pay attention. And they're saying, there are these amazing programs where the innovation is happening on the .com, those offerings that are unique to the, that value proposition that is unique to that customer. We're going to try and make a way for them for people to search for it where they get those unique value propositions. So I think we're going to keep seeing all of these channels say, I need this bit of data to offer this unique experience on TikTok, or this bit of data to offer this unique loyalty experience on Google surfaces. And so it's not going to go away. Like the requirements are only becoming more and more and more as the channels are becoming more and more and more.
I'm going to have to update my slide.
All right.
No. 6 more days for TikTok anyway. We'll see. There's Lindsay, you did have a visual on sort of how this works. I do want to talk a little bit about, so we talk a bit about friction for the customer. And to be honest with you, like gag me, I've been talking about that for 15 years. Like does anyone ever talk about the infinite amount of friction that we in our careers have to incur so that the customer doesn't have friction? Like, how many people in this room have had to have friction in your job so that a customer doesn't have it? Come on, right? Our jobs take on a lot of friction so that customers don't have it. And so one of the things that you put together is sort of show demonstrably what, this collapsing of the role of sort of like designing within the tool. If you could click forward just 2, I think it is. Maybe you could talk us through a little bit on this.
Yeah, this is just a look at our visual builder and what it feels like to go visual first with a tool like MakeSwift. And this is really exciting as a part of Catalyst. So if you are looking for a way to accelerate your time to market, you are going to need to give better tooling for your creative and marketing teams in order to be able to go faster, right? So with Catalyst, what's really exciting is that you don't have to wait on a full composable build. You don't have to spin up. You don't have to wait until the developer has given you the system that you can work within. You're able to hop in and start visually editing and building from the get-go. And so you can see we have this multiplayer tooling here. So there's an infinite amount of collaboration, building the layout, coming up with a copy, and all under the hood. This is run on Next.js. It's powered by Vercel for hosting, and it's all set up for you out of the gate. And so what's really cool about this, for me especially, is that we're taking the power that has been kind of hidden behind the veil of code sometimes for developers to, who are owning that process, and handing it to the marketing teams, to the creative teams that are really untapped in their ability to connect with audiences and make emotionally resonant experiences that actually convert in ways that we wouldn't have been able to do before without this sort of visual first experience.
And so like demonstrably, looking into the future a bit. So let's sort of forecast a bit. When we're thinking about the speed to market, right? Thinking about ways to iterate. We can now think about ways that we can create faster hypotheses, right? We can test a lot faster. Can we be more creative? I think is the question, right? And can we break out of this idea of like there's a lingua franca of e-commerce? There's a design language that we all have to speak. Can we break out of that? Is that possible? No. Yes.
I think we just saw it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yes, we just saw it.
Yeah. I think is there a fear factor internal to organizations that requires us to have to overcome so that we can do something different, so that we can have something we don't have currently?
Fear factor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that currently, if you truly wanted to A/B test and actually pull in your own data, it's a lift. It's. I don't think there's a business here that doesn't struggle with A/B testing on their site. It can be kind of janky, third-party tools, blah blah blah. If you can pull that natively into the platform, you now have kind of democratized A/B testing. So you're able to innovate, you're able to test quicker. And I think that's where you allow creative people in your marketing departments to actually be able to try things out. Because before, I mean, if you think about, I mean, after Google got rid of their free A/B testing tool, then you have other very, very large tools like Optimizely, those kind of things. Those are huge, very, very complex tools to run, very, very complex tools to manage. And you're asking a marketer to do this. You're asking someone that their responsibility is to manage and own the customer experience online, and you're giving them an extremely complex tool that's basically it's unusable. So when you do allow, I think when you push down and allow people to manage and update and do all that kind of stuff, and you give more people the ability to do that more freely, you're naturally going to innovate. I think there's always you're giving the creative people the tools to do their creativity.
And the feedback loop is so much faster.
Yeah.
When you're not saying, okay, I'm seeing the results here from this testing that we did, and now I have to put that change in a queue with developers, and it's a whole bottleneck process. If you're able to take that feedback and the results from your testing and iterate instantly, how many more ideas can you unlock? How many more tests can you run that are ultimately going to produce a better result?
Maybe Sharon, we can talk a bit about how when you have a channel like web that you see as too big to fail because the other channels aren't considered to be, like, if you're not investing in other channels as growth channels, you see web as a channel that is one that you're not willing to experiment with. So maybe you have to look at them all as holistic, that one has to be seen as a channel for experimentation while others are seen as growth channels. Maybe you can talk a bit about how it all has to weave together as you're making investments in one while one becomes a bedrock. So maybe you could talk us through how they all work together.
Yeah, we actually have a slide that just kind of shows my favorite new picture that we were thinking about. So it used to be that I think it's one more. You used to take your data and you would pull it at like feed managers, right? You would take it out of your system of record, whether it was your ERP, you'd pull the catalog, and then you would push it to a channel like Google, and you would run an ad against that product, and you say, click on my ad and go to my website. Now, it's not enough because you need to enrich. If you're smart, you will enrich that catalog data with a bunch of meta field information that you can then, in Google's case, you would like upload custom labels, right? And that data you will want to enrich is things. So you take a raw catalog, you pull it from an ERP or an e-com system like BigCommerce or otherwise a spreadsheet or something. And then you need to marry it with margin data. You need to marry it with inventory data. You need to marry it with, hopefully campaign performance data and other kinds of information. So now you have enriched catalog. And then you've identified, oh no, I have 20,000 SKUs. I'm missing a bunch of data that needs to be filled in. So then you can use Gen AI to author that content for you. So then you need to really enrich. So you can do that. All right, now you have an enriched catalog. You got to send it to a bunch of different places. But then those places send you signal back, orders, conversions, clicks. And so it becomes this big infinity loop. It's no longer just a push or like for ads or a push and a pull for marketplaces. It's this giant feedback loop that says, hey, this product that you uploaded actually has really high return rates and not very good clicks on Facebook, and therefore you should go update your images and your product descriptions. Now that goes back into so now it's this kind of like eternal heartbeat of how does my product perform against my channels that allows you to merchandise your various different SKUs across the channels based on what will resonate the most with a customer. And so when we think about how can you think about the channels you want to test and learn on, we work with tons of customers to run A/B tests. Dell is a very large one that has a really amazing A/B testing program with us. Tiny tweaks when you're spending money against certain SKUs is a really important thing to be able to understand, to be able to optimize and kind of min-max and your spend to make sure you're getting the most out of what you're spending. So when we think about those channels, it's not just which channels are test and learn, it's actually which SKUs are test and learn on which channels. And so you have to get to a place where you can see all of it together.
Ooh, well, that's really good. It's funny, like this seems to be a theme throughout everything right now, is that we used to think about things in the macro, and now we're actually really becoming very granular. This is happening, it used to be sort of at the business level, and now even roles are becoming very isolar and very insular in the way that we think about things. The way that people are starting to isolate, even with AI, and automate certain parts and functions of their roles, I think that this is really fascinating. I also think that we're seeing something else happen too in the way that channels are beginning to evolve. Chat is a really good example. We talked about this homogenization of experiences and how websites are very homogenous. Chat is the most unbranded thing you can possibly think of, right? Chat is as homogenous as it gets. There's nothing but text. Claude maybe has a little bit of color. That's as close as you can get to the lack of a brand. So as we begin to think about the future too, something I would like to project a bit is that maybe the future of the next branded channel that we have to compete with to purchase in is the chat channel where people are making purchase decisions. Purchase decisions are actually being made right now in ChatGPT. We did some research back in August that we unveiled at Big Summit with our partners here at Big Commerce, and it was called New Modes, and we sort of forecasted this news for omnimodal purchasing behavior, and we found that in our research that 20% of people that we talked to back in August were already doing product research right then on products that we're looking to buy right now. 1 in 5 people. These are normal everyday consumers. Normal people with household incomes of $50,000. Normal people. That's incredible to me. And that was back in August. Would you click forward a slide? One more. This just launched. So this is Perplexity. And this came out 2 weeks ago. If you go to Perplexity today and you type best headphones under $200, it will think for a minute. And it will do a bunch of product research for you. And it'll give you a bunch of results. That takes about, what is that? 7 seconds? 8 seconds? It's a big product grid. Oh. Anker, I've heard of that brand before. I can buy it. There's a buy button. Buy with Pro. $106. I click that button. That is literally my office address. This is real time, you guys. I type in my phone number. You can text me there. I literally click that button. You're watching it in real time. That's my Google Pay. I'm literally clicking this button in front of you. This is my Visa. Don't screenshot this. That is how long it takes to make a purchase decision in a that's like ChatGPT, you guys. Product research, click to buy. We don't own that channel, right? Perplexity has formed key partnerships with major advertiser networks, and they're forming key partnerships with Best Buy and with strategic merchants. This is the next channel opportunity. New channels are launching every day. maybe TikTok is a channel that might go away. But new channels are coming, right? And maybe not every new channel is one we can control the like skin and the brand of. Okay. But maybe the skin and the brand of them have kind of been ones that we don't necessarily have the lingua franca control over anyway for a long time. All right. So that's kind of where we are.